Welcome back to Disassembled, the official podcast of the Big Glasgow Comic Page, where we talk about news, reviews, and interviews in the world of comic books. I'm your host, Ian Lynn, and as always, I'm joined today by Daniel Boyd.
Hello, are you feeling lovely? I'm feeling lovely.
Also known as Lovely Daniel Boyd, my bad. And a fan favorite, I think, after last week's shenanigans, we've also got Angry Alan Todd.
Hello.
Which he couldn't exactly join us last week. He was replaced by a strange man in sunglasses and a hat. I don't know what that was about, honestly. They didn't clear that with me, but he's back now. We're happy to have him. We've got some really fun stuff on the docket here today. It's going to be news. It's going to be talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's going to be talking about a really terrible movie that we'll get to lastly. In fact, I want to put that one off as long as I can so I don't have to think about it. But basically, here's what we're going to be doing. First of all, we're going to do a news rundown. Second of all, we're going to talk about that TV show. And then third, and I guess I'll acknowledge it, the fans have spoken. We put out a poll for what terrible movie you want us to subject ourselves to. The winner was Fantastic Four from 2015. So towards the end of the show, we're going to talk about that for about 20 minutes, go through some comments that were left, talk about what we thought of it. It's going to be all kinds of fun. How are you guys doing?
I'm good, man. I'm all right. Thanks.
Yeah?
Not bad, not bad.
You both survived
Yourself?
watching Fantastic Four?
Just about.
I barely...
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I finished the last 15 minutes basically before we started recording because I just couldn't yesterday.
That's a hard 50 minutes, to be fair.
I feel like I gained nothing from watching that 15 minutes. I could have just... We'll get there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Lots of news this week. I think we have more to cover this week than we have in any week prior. We are changing the formula a little bit. You might notice if you've been listening to our first, 5 or so episodes. Obviously, things were a little slapdash for the first month or so, kind of figuring out what we're doing, how we're doing it. Interview here, special there. So kind of what we're doing going forward, just to give everyone a heads up, is we'll be doing these kind of normal episodes where we go over news, maybe talk about a bad movie. Of course, we're going to be talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier as we go on there, kind of like we did with WandaVision at first. And then we will have offshoots like the Snyder special. We'll have our interviews. They won't go under that same Disassembled logo, but they'll be in the same RSS feed on like Spotify and things like that. So as I understand it, that's kind of how we're going to do things going forward, just to give people an idea.
There's more content into it.
Yeah. Basically, we want to give you guys more to digest, and I know that the interviews are pretty popular. I know people liked the Snyder special, so... we kind of want to give people a nice buffet of content to consume, so you're not just having to listen to us talk about news for an hour and a half.
That means technically this is my debut appearance on the regular podcast, because the three of us did episode 0, which never got uploaded, and then I did the Anna interview and the Snyder Cut special. So this is my first appearance. So.
This is true, and the Wanda special got axed because
because that one was
Oh, the audio in that one was... There are some clips up on YouTube. You can go look it up, but like the audio on that one was kind of a shambles. So we've gotten better at it.
There's not going to be an uncut version of that anytime soon.
No, we're not gonna release the Wanda cut. So let's dive right into it. News. There's a lot of it. I think, punches and bunches. The first thing is we've got a fair bit of casting news in the world of superhero television. First, the one I'm most excited about is Pierce Brosnan cast as Dr. Fate in the upcoming Black Adam movie starring Dwayne Derrick Johnson. How do you guys feel about that? You like that casting?
Yeah, more Pierce Brosnan. He's always watchable, so that's good. I take it he's playing Kent Nelson, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I assume so. I'm
pretty sure. I put the article up about it. I'm pretty sure it was Kent Nelson. No, I'm really looking forward to it, man. I love Pierce Brosnan, and seeing him in that role, I think it's going to be really interesting because he's not done anything superhero related as far as I know. So like, will it? I obviously it's going to be CGI heavy because the guy's 70 years old, so I think it will be, a kind of mix of sort of CGI and actor performance. But no, I mean the guy's, don't get me wrong, still in great shape. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Oh yeah, and I think
feeling that he's not actually going to be Doctor Fate. Doctor Fate, he's going to just pass the torch over because there was a new Doctor Fate introduced a few years back in the comics. I can't remember his name, but I think it'll probably be like a passing of the torch.
Yeah,
than him being Doctor Fate for.
There's a younger Doctor Fate that they introduced at one point. The last time I remember seeing him was in New 52's Earth 2, but maybe they integrated him into the main universe. I haven't really kept up on my Doctor Fate lore.
They may be planning to do what they did with Hank Pym, like Michael Douglas is an old actor.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was just trying to remember who played Hank Pym in Ant-Man because I couldn't remember Michael Douglas's name. But thank you. Yes, that's the comparison I was looking for. I think he looks the part for Kent Nelson. So I mean, whichever way they decide to go, whether it's a passing of the torch or whether they put him in the helmet, I think we have to get at least one shot of him in the helmet. We have to. But I think that's good casting. That movie is really I'm looking forward to that movie because the casting so far is really good. I like that they're leaning kind of towards the JSA. I would like to see an Alan Scott and I'm having a moment. Jay Garrick. I'd like to see an Alan Scott and a Jay Garrick. It's definitely not going to happen. They're not going to go that far, I don't think. But it would be cool. I'd like to see them on the big screen. Not in this movie. I don't. Maybe if they do a JSA movie at some point, but I don't think they're going to introduce that many characters in Black Adam.
I think if we've learned nothing from Zack Snyder's DC films, it's that we can't rush too many comic book storylines into one movie because
definitely not. I could definitely see them doing a standalone JSA movie. I don't think there would be a problem with that necessarily, but yeah, let's take the lessons that we've learned from the Zack Snyder trilogy and
not do that again.
Yeah, maybe take them to heart a little bit before we start just dumping 10 characters in a movie together that we haven't had time to build up. I'm sure Alan could probably speak volumes about that.
Let's maybe stop throwing everything at the wall and just see what sticks. Just
right,
an idea.
Exactly. Well, that'll probably be good. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the first set photos on that. I want to see how ridiculous The Rock looks like as Black Adam, honestly. Do you think they'll give him pointy ears?
They have to, right?
I hope so.
I assume in terms of set photos, it'll just be Pierce Brosnan and Dwayne Johnson in like ping pong suits, and everything will be CGI later. I would probably imagine Green Lantern style.
I don't think you get The Rock and you don't put him in a ridiculous super suit on set. I mean, they had...
it would be a waste, yeah.
Yeah, they had Zachary What's-His-Face Chuck in the Shazam suit, so why not? And you don't even have to pad The Rock. I mean, the dude is a mountain.
Oh, yeah.
He was The Rock. Now he's the boulder, all right? What else we got here? Little Nina cast in The Boys Season 3. That's one I'm really looking forward to. Because we try to keep it family friendly on this show, I'm not going to go too deep into Little Nina's role in the comic book. Suffice to say, she's a little bit of a Russian sadist that meets a very humorous end. Without saying too much about that end, do you guys think they're going to do that in the show?
Oh, they'll do a version of it. I think that will be toned down. That's kind of been the format so far for the show. So
yeah.
Bear in mind, in season 2, you had the guy with the monster appendage. He appeared, so...
Yes, love sausage. I was kind of...
Yeah, I never read the book that much, so I don't remember the names.
I was actually a little disappointed what they did with that, because he's a really funny character in the books, and they just kind of appearance. And it was a good laugh, but like there's a lot more that they do with Love Sausage in the actual comics that they could have pulled off. It's nothing like too risque aside from the obvious. Yeah. So yeah, Swedish actress Katja Winter will join the Boys season 3. She's appeared in a Legends of Tomorrow episode, so this isn't her first superhero affair. She is also Ichabod Crane's less than loving wife in the Sleepy Hollow TV show, so she's been around. I've seen exactly one of those shows, and it's not Sleepy Hollow.
I've seen none of those shows.
Legends of Tomorrow is it was pretty good. I haven't watched it in like a season, but it's wacky. I liked it when I watched it.
Yeah, no, like it looked okay. Like it looked better than Arrow, but
Legends of Tomorrow is really, the first season is meh because they tried to actually be serious about it, and then from like season 2 onwards, they start doing like wacky time shenanigans where everyone dresses up, and they really embrace the humor of the show, and so it becomes very enjoyable. Plus, they bring Matt Ryan on as Constantine, and like he's a little bit more of a PG-rated Constantine in that show because he has to be, but he still does the role really well. And that's the most Constantine we're going to get on a TV show for the foreseeable future, so I guess enjoy it where you can get it. Yeah. Last and certainly not least, and maybe we should have bundled this with Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren as the villain in Shazam 2. Daniel, tell me more about that.
She's been cast as Hespera, the daughter of the god Atlas, in the DC Comics sequel.
Okay. I wonder...
what's cool nowadays, man, like, Helmer is 75, and Pierce Brosnan's, like, I think he's 70, and they're getting cast in these big superhero films. Like, it's amazing that CGI can kind of let actors of that age still take part.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because you are young, like, it's not a death sentence, do you know what I mean? Like, these people they're still able-bodied, they can go out there and do their thing. They don't have to, like, run and jump and climb trees.
Yeah, I mean, with technology the way it's getting, even if they do have to run and jump as a character, you can just fake their faces onto a stunt double.
I was going to say, with technology the way it's going, they could be dead for 20 years and still appear.
I mean, hey man, Grand Moff Tarkin, that was weird.
That was trying to run before you could walk, if I've ever seen it.
I didn't like that.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shock.
I went back and reviewed Rogue One this week. There's another review for you guys to go check out.
Yes, definitely check out the Rogue One review. I do
talk a fair amount about the Tarkin CGI in the review.
Yeah, I'll have to read it. I haven't read it yet, but I had mixed feelings about Rogue One because I feel like the first half of that movie is just intensely boring, and then the second half is pretty alright.
It's all over the place. The first half's just meanders.
You know what? We'll speaking of Rogue One, that's actually great segue. We have set photos for the Cassian Andor show that's going to be coming to Disney Plus, which there's not really that much more to say about that. We have set photos for it. You can find them on the internet. You can look at them.
Cassie was my favourite character, I think, in Rogue One. So,
I mean,
he
was basically the Han Solo of that movie. Like, he was the breakout kind of roguish.
He was a better Han Solo than Alden Ehrenreich was.
Yes. Well, that's not a high bar to cross, to be honest. I didn't love Solo.
When I watched, I didn't hate Solo, but when I watched Rogue One, I remember thinking, if they were to go maybe take a different route with an Uncharted film, that possibly Diego Luna could be a shout for Nathan Drake.
I can see that.
Honestly, it's just the part then where he's trying to climb down to get the hard drive, and I'm like, this is so Uncharted. Like, he would be a really good Nathan Drake.
I mean, he definitely all respect to Tom Holland. They're gonna have to really sell me on that when the trailer comes out.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think he'll be really good at it, just because I haven't seen him in anything where I haven't enjoyed him. Like, he's always good, and he's played, like, from Spider-Man, where he's just like, oh, jeez, Mr. Stark. Like, that's more Rick and Morty, I know. But he's right from that kind
of jeez, Stark!
kid The worst Peter Parker impersonation ever, sorry.
You want me to put the web shooters in my butt, Rick?
Peter, you gotta put on the suit. We're gonna go to space. Fight some aliens. I'm gonna take a nap.
100 years!
100 years. Iron Man and Spider-Man.
Peterson and Ben Shapiro.
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, total tangent. I don't think Tom Holland will be a bad Nathan Drake at all. I think he'll be okay.
I don't think it'll be bad. I have such a. I don't see Tom Holland as like an Indiana Jones Han Solo type, which is kind of what Nathan Drake is.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about Mark Wahlberg as Sully, to be honest.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I don't understand that. Like, and he's not even going to have the mustache. Like, what is the point? If you're not having Sully with a mustache, you're doing it wrong.
Hey, it's me. I'm
Come
Sully. Say hi to your mother
Say
for
hi to
me.
your mother for me.
I like that, you know, anytime anyone says Mark Wahlberg, you don't think of Mark Wahlberg, you think of Andy Samberg's version of Mark Wahlberg.
Andy Samberg. Yes.
I watch those skits at least once a year. Hey, you're a goat. What's that like? Let's do a movie. I was in The Other Guys. Did you see that? That's a nice beard, goat. Yeah, no,
Say hi to
it's
your mother for me.
that's a bit of a tangent. So yeah, Helen Mirren and Shazam 2, I think, is how this started.
Oh yeah.
From Helen Mirren to fucking Mark Wahlberg.
Hey,
Jesus.
you know, we went on a journey, man. That's what's important. Maybe the real Shazam 2 is the friends we made along the way. That's all I'm saying. Play at home. That's a PlayStation thing. I've never owned a Sony console in my life. Dan, tell me more about it.
Play at home was a thing they did last year, around this time, and it was during a lockdown, and it was to try and get people to stay at home. They made some games free, basically. But last year it was just, talking about Uncharted, it was just the Uncharted collection and Journey.
Which ain't bad.
Which,
Journey
I mean,
also really good.
Two decent games, yeah, if you've not played them. But this year there's a bunch more being added. I'll read through the full list. What date are we on today? We're on the 27th. I don't know when this is going to go up, but if you listen to it before the 31st of March, the Ratchet and Clank remake is free just now. And then
We should definitely have this up before Wednesday.
from the 22nd, which was a few days ago, so basically right now, you can download Abzu, Enter the Gungeon, Res Infinite, Subnautica, which Subnautica's pretty great if you've not played it, The Witness, which I downloaded and didn't love, Astrobot, which is a VR game, Moss, which is another VR game, Thumper, and Paper Beast. But then on the 19th of April, Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition, is going free, which I played the base game. And it's good for about the first hour, and then you realise it's just killing big robot dinosaurs. Like, that's for the next 12 hours or however long that game lasts.
The better the weapons get, the more interesting the kills get, though. It's fun. I enjoyed it.
I was a bit let down. Because it was a big exclusive, and I'm a Sony pony, I was like, yes, another big exclusive, because obviously we had a few other good ones that year that came out. Horizon, I was just a bit let down with it, to be honest. But I will pick up the complete edition, one, because it's free, and two, because it's probably got more to it that I've not played yet. So
What else we got? New Call of Duty is named Vanguard, allegedly, and shockingly is set in World War II. Who didn't see that coming?
I mean, do you guys still keep up with Call of Duty? Because I don't.
Not even a little bit.
I don't think I've played any of them.
Warzone is great, but and I think for a lot of people during lockdown they've really enjoyed that game. But I think in terms of mainstay kind of Call of Duty games, I don't think anybody really cares at this point.
Isn't the most recent Call of Duty at this point, doesn't it take up an entire PS4 hard drive by itself or something like that?
Yeah, it's crazy. No, I think it's I don't know if it's the Cold War one or if it's the Modern Warfare one before that, because that's got the Warzone tacked on. It's one or the other. But yeah, I think if you've got a PS4 that's under 100 and whatever the smallest size PS4 is, you can't play that game. You can't install it, which is crazy.
Ridiculous. I mean, to be fair, it's nuts to have a hard drive under 1 terabyte at this point if you're playing video games. But still, oof, man, that is
Yeah, the Activision really need to learn how to compress their games.
Yes.
Sledgehammer, like, he did.
They're like the Zack Snyder of data files. Shots fired. I went there. Speaking of Zack Snyder, you ready for this, Alan? So
I'll brace myself.
they released the Snyder Cut. Good job, everyone. We got it done. You know, hashtags all around. A little applause for you.
We got him.
It's not enough for people. Now, what is trending is hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Alan is vigorously shaking his head. So here's the thing. I'm kind of a Zack Snyder apologist, right? I think we established that last week. It's fine. Whatever. You like what you like. Don't like what you don't like. Don't do this. First of all, don't harass executives at WB, even if they don't agree with your viewpoint that the Zack Snyderverse should continue. Don't harass people on Twitter. That's not going to get it done. You're not doing Zack Snyder any favors. Like, that's not cool.
I work for Sonic. Just to play devil's advocate.
Yeah. It did hit an interesting milestone. 1.4 million trending tweets restore the Snyderverse in 24 hours, which has beaten the previous Hollywood record of Avengers Endgame. So at least Zack Snyder's movies beat one thing for Marvel?
You're definitely going to get comments.
Good. I welcome them. It means someone's listening.
Yeah, it means engagement. No, but
love us or hate us, just listen to us.
Love them or hate me, spitting straight knowledge. No, but in terms of like restoring the Snyderverse, like as you said, I like Zack Snyder's films, and I don't hate the trilogy like Alan does. But even I'm just sitting going,
I don't think
why?
anyone hates the trilogy like Alan does.
But I'm just sitting going, why is this even a thing? Like, just let Zack Snyder go and make a zombie film, and let the DC films continue to hopefully get better. Like.
Yeah.
Just let the Batman come out and see where that goes. Like, why are we trying to restore something that didn't work 5 years ago?
Well, hey,
you know what I mean?
You know, it does look like the DC films are getting a little better because we got the first Suicide Squad trailer yesterday. Excuse me, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, remember the
which looks really good. My pal yesterday said it looks like someone repurposed the Guardians of the Galaxy script and changed the name in places to protect the innocent, and I was like, yeah, that's probably fair.
I mean,
but
it's
Guardians
James Gunn,
of the
so
Galaxy
yes.
Were good.
Oh yeah. Some would say one more than two, but yes.
I prefer two.
Really?
But
Interesting.
in terms of the Suicide Squad trailer, I just don't know if it works. I don't know. Like, I get it from like a kind of corporate perspective. Like DC, Warner Bros. Are obviously sitting going, right, we've got these characters. Ayer made a balls up it before, right? Whether you think it was his fault or whatever, the Ayer cut's a whole other thing, right? But they're saying, right, how do we make these characters popular? Oh, we take James Gunn, a guy that took another bunch of obscure characters and made them popular for Marvel, and we bring him over here and get him to do the same. I get it from that perspective. It just does not look like my kind of film. It looks very try-hard and very forced and very, I don't know, like, it doesn't, none of it feels natural at all. I mean, it's a 3-minute trailer. I might feel different when I see the film, but from that short trailer, I don't know, I just did not like the vibe at all. And I remember seeing the set photos of like the costumes, like John Cena's costume, and even the way that Rick Flag's dressed in this one, and I'm like, these look extremely stupid and naff, but maybe they'll look okay in the film because, you know, set photos, costumes quite often look pretty terrible. But even in the trailer, I was like, holy shit, these look awful. These look really bad.
See, I'm into it. I think they're going for stupid, and I think the biggest difference. So, first minute or so of the trailer, I was kind of watching it, being like, this doesn't. There's the pop music, there's the jokes. This doesn't feel that different from the first one. But I think the biggest difference is they went into this movie intending for that to be the tone versus the original Suicide Squad movie where, as I understand it, David Ayer went in meaning to make kind of a dark comedy drama, and it just got turned into a bubblegum Technicolor pop music nightmare.
Yeah. Do you know
I don't-
what? Sorry, what I was thinking, what would be really funny, like, remember when that first film came out, it was originally pitched to be like the black background, be like the hard chrome logo, and it was like dark and gritty.
Yes.
And then over time, like, you can actually see the progression of the posters, it gets lighter and some lights come on it, and then eventually it's
Yes.
like green with like purple writing, and it becomes like pure poppy and whatever. Because the Snyder cut has done so well, I wonder if this will go the other way. They started off like poppy, colourful posters and these weird
They'll
character
dark it
and
up.
eventually it'll be like the Suicide Squad, like pure serious dark Zack Snyder.
WB
like,
can't
angel
make
music
up their
and all
damn
that.
mind.
Another Hallelujah cover in the last trailer.
People like the dark? Oh no!
Yeah, that'd be really funny if it went the other way.
no.
But I don't know.
no.
I hope it's good. It just
Quick, we have to do Batman reshoots where he kills a guy. Call Zach. Get him in here.
I mean, it can't be any worse than the Ayer one. Do you know what I mean? Like, it can't be any worse than the last one.
It literally can't. I would still like to
God,
see
awful.
the Ayer
Yeah.
cut. I don't think it would make it a good movie, but I'm curious. I'd like to see what David Ayer was originally trying to do. You know what it
Suicide
is?
Squad film, the David Ayer one, I thought I'd had a stroke midway through it. Like, I'm watching it and then all of a sudden,
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
It's so dumb. It's so
what are they
bad.
doing now? Why are they doing this? What happened?
Yeah.
Like,
They
the Enchantress for some reason is like, oh.
So here's what I understand about the original Suicide Squad movie. First of all, they sliced it into an incoherent mess. All of the flashbacks being stacked on top of each other. Like, apparently that was all a much more linear progression in the original cut, instead of being like Amanda Waller sitting in a room and then we get 6 different pop songs with a bunch of montages. The other thing is, and this wouldn't be in the Ayer cut, I don't think, because this changed before they even got to filming, but originally, as I understand it, this actually was supposed to bridge into Justice League. The villain was not supposed to be Enchantress at first, or if it was, she was going to be working in tandem with Steppenwolf, who was going to have his first appearance in Suicide Squad, and those bubbly masses that they're fighting were going to be friggin' parademons, is what I read the original plan was to be. So they were going to have to do a thing, and that would kind of lead into, oh, Steppenwolf is on Earth, and we have Apocalypse invading, and then that kind of leads into Justice League, which I'm not saying it would be a good film. I'm saying it would be a more
Could it make
coherent
more
film.
sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's been my argument for the Snyderverse the whole time. I'm not saying it's going to be better. I'm saying it could be more coherent.
I think this depends on who you ask, but I feel like Zack Snyder has more good films under his belt than David Ayer. David Ayer's very inconsistent. Like,
Yeah.
there's some of his stuff
What
that
else
I'm
did
back.
David Ayer do? What else did they do? I'm trying to remember.
The last one, I think the last one before Suicide Squad he did was that one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and what's his face, the Australian, Sam Worthington. It was called
Yeah.
like, I can't remember. They were like army guys. It was really forgettable. But back in the day, I mean, he had something to do with Training Day. Did he not write Training Day?
Yeah, I think so.
And he wrote End of Watch, which if you've not seen that's a great film with Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena.
I've still not seen that one.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think you'd like it, Alan.
Yeah, sorry, he wrote Training Day as well, which I love that film. I think Ethan Hawke and
Let's see here.
Denzel are brilliant.
David Ayer filmography. I don't think Alan would like End of Watch because he'd watch the whole thing and just the entire time be muttering under his breath, "Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda."
Probably.
Yeah, it's 100% a movie about cops. Let's see. He wrote U571. He did write Training Day and co-produced it. He was a writer on The Fast and the Furious. What?
Yeah, he wrote the first Fast and Furious apparently. Yeah.
This explains so much.
Yeah. Although you know what he did after Suicide Squad, Alan, right? He did Bright.
Yeah,
Remember Bright?
Bright was his
Yeah,
fault.
the Ox as cops one, yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
me.
that was not a good movie. He wrote SWAT. That's not surprising. He wrote Dark Blue. Dude really loves a cop movie, is what I'm
Yeah.
learning here.
Yeah. I quite liked Dark Blue. Like, that was okay.
He's
I
very touch.
think-
He's just so touch and go, though. I think
Yeah.
such a
Did
spotty.
Fury?
I liked Dark Blue. I don't like any Zack
That's
Snyder
right.
films, so David Ayer wins.
How did you feel about Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake?
I haven't seen it.
I think it's his least offensive work based on like what
It's-
you do and don't like about his movies.
Yeah, it's his least Zack Snyder.
I don't know about that. I watched a thing about it because I was like, maybe I'll watch that one, but I went down the rabbit hole on like stuff about Zack Snyder films, and then I saw a couple of videos about his Dawn of the Dead remake, and I was like, yeah, it looks like it's going to be more of the same stuff. I just don't like it with the guy, so... Fast zombies I've not got a problem with. I really liked 28 Days Later. I know they're not zombies, but like they're fast. But
Close enough.
just the guy's not for me. It's...
Who's splitting hairs?
Yeah. Infected, whatever.
Yeah.
Although, let's be honest, James Gunn's filmography is kind of all over the place as well. He's not hit gold every time.
I didn't know who
think
James
most
Gunn
of
was
them-
until Guardians came out.
I remember his
Really?
old. What was his weird old stuff? He had like his own studio, and it was like these weird indie films, and they were really like cheap and like, oh god, what were they called? They were awful.
Sliver.
Maybe.
Oh,
Sliver's really
James Gunn is responsible for the live-action Scooby-Doo movies in the early 2000s.
He wrote them too. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Well,
And he also wrote movie 43.
then yes,
Which-
James Gunn's
No, didn't know that.
filmography is incredibly suspect.
It's Tromeo or like Tromer was like the old
Yes,
Troma. That
Tromeo
was-
and Juliet.
That was like his early films. They're weird, by the way. Like when the Scandal stuff came out on Twitter, I was like, that makes sense. That's the guy that made Trauma. That's all I would say about that.
You know what?
Okay.
Hey, tie-in. James Gunn actually wrote Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead.
No,
Oh really?
He wrote the original screenplay, and then it went through several more. Apparently. Which is why I think Brightburn was kind of a piss take of Zack Snyder
Oh yeah.
from James Gunn.
Yes, Brightburn was absolutely a big old middle finger to Man of Steel, and I loved it. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Aye, Brightburn was alright.
But apparently the original screenplay he done for it, someone looked it up online and it bears no resemblance. Like apparently it's just like a completely different film.
Interesting.
I liked his steering wheel through the jaw. I enjoyed that part.
Oh God, that was. Yeah.
That was something.
Oh. I really like the way Brightburn ended, where they kind of allude to an evil Justice League around the world.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Don't
Go
remember.
Nike.
I don't
Oh,
remember.
it was like the
thinking
end
good.
credits, I think. It was like all the papers or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, they allude to like a fish man and like a warrior woman
Yeah.
like killing people everywhere, and just like basically evil Justice League members. WB should just buy that and make it the Earth 3 movie. He's
Crime
Ultraman.
Syndicate, yeah.
Yeah. That's basic. That was reading the Crime Syndicate book from Infinite Frontier that came out last month. They had a little backup story that was Ultraman's kind
Origin,
of
yeah.
backstory, origin, and Brightburn is all I could think of the entire time.
Definitely. With the horrible parents are like, oh, everyone will hate you, like, you have to do everything for us, but
Yep.
they're all freeloaders, so funny.
Which is a little different than Brightburn, because his parents were actually incredibly sweet in Brightburn, which makes it so
Yeah,
much
they
more
were
sad
nice,
that
yeah.
that they're murdered horribly. Let's see here. What else we got? Boy, we got there
talked
from.
about Starro.
Oh my gosh, yes. The Suicide Squad trailer. That's where we started here. My favorite part of the somehow we just spent like 15 minutes talking about everything but the Suicide Squad trailer. Yeah, that was my most unexpected part, is you only get a brief shot of him towards the end of the trailer. But yes, Starro, the dumbest possible villain they could put in the movie, and I would not have it any other way.
Nah, it didn't do it for me. I'm just fucking big Starfish.
Oh my god,
Nah.
Daniel, you are like diametrically opposed from Alan here, and I kind of love it. Alan and I are both here like cheering on this movie, and you're like, "This is crap. I hate it.
Like stupid Starfish.
I hope it burns." I can't do a Scottish accent.
I don't know, man. I'm not against a big. I guess if you're going to do him, like, I guess this is maybe the best film to put him in. But I'm just like, you really like the roster that you could have chose from, and you go with a big Starfish. Like,
They went for the biggest, dumbest characters. Polka Dot Man.
I know.
Polka Dot Man.
Well, that's the thing. As soon as I seen that, I knew what kind of film this was going to be. Like, I feel like
The guy that plays him.
The guy that plays him has
Aye.
The guy that plays him has been in more DC related properties than like any other actor.
Yeah, he's good in The Dark Knight in the brief appearance that he makes.
Oh, aye, of course, yes.
Yes, he was in The Dark Knight. He was also he was a Jerome following cultist in Gotham. So this will be the first time he's not playing something Joker related.
Have you guys seen what's it called, Prisoners, with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal?
I have not.
No.
Really good movie. He makes a brief appearance in that as well, and he's phenomenal in that. He's insane, but he's really good. Yeah, good movie.
They also got my boy
Yeah,
Pete
he seems to be
Davidson in that
insane.
movie. I like that.
Pete Davidson.
He's the one with the...
I don't like Pete Davidson either.
I like him. He's the one with the bleached hair in the movie. I forget what the name of the character he's playing is. They're all so dumb, but
He's got guns. Yeah.
we've got Peter Capaldi as the Thinker. I loved his Doctor, so I'm excited for this.
Didn't watch it.
Didn't watch it.
I liked him. He was a dick. I was into it.
I
After
love
the-
Peter Capaldi, like, he's really good in the thick of it, obviously, but he always shows up and he's always good, so
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing him in that.
I had a few years there where I followed Doctor Who pretty heavily, just like everyone else did in the late 2010s. And after the kind of like saccharine twee nature of
Matt Smith,
Matt Smith and David
Tennant.
Tennant, yes. I have a hard time with names sometimes, remembering them. After the kind of saccharine twee nature of David Tennant and Matt Smith, I was okay with Peter Capaldi coming along and being like, no, I'm kind of an asshole. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm into it. Let's do it.
I watched the first season with English dude.
Christopher Eccleston.
And whatnot.
Chris Eccleston.
I like that one. I started watching the David Tennant ones and just fell away, and I've never went back to it since. Like I liked Doctor Who as a kid, but I'm just like, it's too cheap.
I
and nasty,
really
like, it
liked-
doesn't look
Yeah,
good.
that is.
Oh, it's super campy. I really liked Christopher Eccleston. I was disappointed that he only lasted like 10 episodes or something until there was creative differences. But I like that he didn't feel the need with that character to do wacky things like wear a bow tie or a fez. Woo-hoo-hoo! No, it's just a dude in a leather jacket. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't hate Matt Smith as an actor, but that's when I fell off. Like with that, was it Custard
Yeah.
Fish Fingers or something? I was like, nah, this is shite.
A little too much. A little too much. And it's not entirely their fault. Like that also comes down to the writing staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've completely fallen off. Like the last season of Capaldi, and I haven't watched any of Lady Doctor Who. So, I haven't felt any need to go back to the series.
Nah, I like Jodie Whittaker, but not enough to go back to it.
Yeah. What else we got here? Black Widow release date. That movie is allegedly going to come out. I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did they give us for
July.
the actual release date? July 9th
July
is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Open in theaters on July 9th. Will also launch on Disney Plus the same day. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I've been
I
looking
don't
forward to
know.
it though. Like,
I'm
Me
looking
too.
forward to it. I just
But
don't
I've
know
lost-
that theaters are actually going to be open and functional by July.
no, I don't think so.
No, and I think a lot of people have
Maybe
lost
over
interest.
America, but
Yeah.
I
You
think.
so? I don't know.
Aye. Well, I totally have. I mean, I was hyped for it after like Endgame and stuff, and
I
now
think when the cinemas open, folk are going to go crazy for whatever's out. Do you know what I mean? Like, folk will just be like, oh, cinema.
see, I kind of thought that with Tenet because that came out like kind of during a break that we had in lockdown, and then it lost money. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I mean, not that we've been exactly starved for Marvel content, but this is I think this really is the longest it's been since a Marvel movie has come out in like a decade.
Yeah.
Feels weird.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's been the weird. Maybe
It's probably not a good time to do a podcast.
that's maybe been the weirdest part of COVID and the lockdown in the past year is just like no Marvel movies. Just strange feeling. I guess we're lucky that Endgame came out first, so like it kind of felt like all right, this is the end of this chapter. Like we can have a break.
Do you know, I was thinking that I kind of wished that Far From Home hadn't came out because that kind of restarted things somewhat. So see if that if it had finished the Endgame, it felt I'd been like, right, okay, yeah.
Oh hey, speaking of Spider-Man. Okay. Yeah, it was just okay. Speaking of Spider-Man, some shots came out of some crew swag from Spider-Man No Way Home, and very obviously they weren't hiding it. On the T-shirt for the crew was Andrew Garfield's spider suit.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think they're just messing with us, or do you think it's legit?
I don't know, man. You think they produce T-shirts just to post them on Twitter? This is Marvel, yeah, probably. You know,
we don't have the money.
But like, there have been. There's just too much pointing towards it. Andrew Garfield's stunt double spotted, and things that have been spotted on. I'm pretty sure he's in that film. To what degree? I don't know. I mean, there's been so many casting rumors between Alfred Molina, Dr. Octopus, Electro coming back, Jamie Foxx, maybe Tobey Maguire. There's rumors that Willem Dafoe is going to play a more comic-accurate Green Goblin is the most recent one. It's too much stuff. Like, it's got to be some of those are just brief bit cameos.
And the fact that Sam Raimi's doing Doctor Strange 2 as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing that I noticed is there was a little like card towards the corner of the picture that was a little hard to make out. There was something about stills. It was probably like film stills or something like that. You couldn't see the first word, but whatever it was, something stills was super obviously written in the PS3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man font, with a little picture of a Spider-Man with a camera, which neither Andrew Garfield nor Tom Holland's Spider-Man does the photography thing, but Tobey Maguire's did. So I would love to see Tobey Maguire come back as like an Earth X Spider-Man or like a Dark Reign Spider-Man. He killed Kirsten Dunst with his radioactive semen.
That was a weird book.
It's a really weird book. I think you would hate it. I think you would hate every minute of it. It basically Marvel looked at Dark Knight Returns and was like, "What if we did this but Spider-Man, the least appropriate character to do this with?" Okay.
We know how much you like Dark Knight Returns.
Oh man. That's what I'm saying. You don't even like Dark Knight Returns, so like you definitely wouldn't like Spider-Man Reign. It's just old man Peter Parker.
Carrie Andrews, you actually get to see Spider-Man's penis at some point in that book. I remember that. It was just like, what?
You know, look at DC and Marvel borrowing back and forth. Marvel borrows The Dark Knight Returns. DC borrows seeing the superhero's dick in a controversial book. You know, whatever.
So you send one of his to the morgue, we'll send one of yours to the negative zone. That's the Marvel way or something. I don't know.
I just know the thing that everyone knows Spider-Man Rain for is the idea that he killed Mary Jane with radioactive semen.
I don't even remember that about it. I remember loving the art. Like, the art was phenomenal, but I don't remember much of the story.
Yeah. It's one thing to imply that in Watchmen. It's another thing to do it in a Spider-Man comic.
You know what they could do is if they wanted to tie the Spider-Verse movies together with the MCU Spider-Man, he wouldn't sound the same, but they could literally have Tobey Maguire just play the Jake Johnson, like, retired, crappy, overweight Spider-Man from Spider-Verse.
See, the thing is, though...
they bring in Nick Cage.
The only thing about that, I don't know if Tobey Maguire is able to take himself, like, laugh at himself as much as he would have to for that role. I feel like Tobey Maguire takes himself a bit too seriously.
He's from what I've heard, he's a little bit of a blowhard. Didn't everyone hate him on the Spider-Man set? Like,
Yeah.
famously.
Have you guys seen Molly's Game? The
I have
poker.
not.
It's a good movie that Aaron Sorkin did, and I think it's Michael Cera in the film that plays the part of this like actor that's an arsehole when he comes to all the games, and he's an absolute scumbag the way he treats like women and just like people in the room in general, and he thinks he's above everybody, and he plays with all this money, and he's clearly got a really bad gambling problem. Apparently, that character was very much based on Tobey Maguire. Like in real life, that was Tobey Maguire, and they just kind of adapted it, and Michael Cera played him in the film. So yeah,
He was Tobey Maguire was. I mean, I really didn't like the Great Gatsby movie in the first place, like at all. But out of everything in that movie, he was my least favorite part.
I don't see it.
Yeah, like I'm not a fan of him in general. I've got to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
I can't think of anything he's done where I've went, oh, he's great in that. Like, he's just
He's there.
in most things.
I think, like many elements of pop culture, the memes have ruined Tobey Maguire Spider-Man for me. It's like the same way that Shrek. Every time I watch Shrek now, it's the memes I see. It's the same thing when you watch Spider-Man 3 and he's dancing, and you can't get away from the memes. Like,
all right. If it took the memes to ruin Spider-Man 3 for you,
up till then, it was brilliant.
dun, 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 dun. Now dig on this. Great. You know what? At the same time, though, I think his work in Spider-Man 3 is absolutely proof that he can maybe laugh at himself a little bit.
Yeah, true. Range.
Because like, how do you do this scene and like not have, for those listening, I just did the little dance and the point
With the hair.
with the hip thrust. How do you do that and not have a little bit of a self-aware sense of humor? I don't know. Or maybe he was just super serious about being super dumb. Who knows what darkness lurks in the heart of man?
Especially that man.
Okay, we need to move on. Let's move on to the main event of the day because we're getting a little long in the tooth here. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I watched the first 2 episodes yesterday and this morning because I haven't had time to watch them otherwise. How do you guys feel about it? How are you liking it?
It's okay. It's not grabbed me as much as WandaVision did. Which is a bit worrying because like if you take the fact that WandaVision was 9 episodes long and this is only 6, I'm like, we're 2 in and I'm still just I don't feel any like more knowledgeable or clued into like the kind of overarching what this show is trying to do as what I did before I watched the first episode. I feel like the first episodes have been pretty nothing. It's like, oh, these 2 guys don't really like each other, they have to work together. Captain America's now Kurt Russell's son, and that like we could have got all that for the trailer. I don't feel like we've got anything else yet in these first episodes that we didn't have already for the trailer. And the fact there's only 4 left, I'm kind of like, where's this going to go?
The episodes are longer though.
Yeah, I mean, I want to like it. I don't know.
I'm interested. I mean, I've always liked the dynamic between Sam and Bucky in the movies. I like their kind of begrudging buddy cop thing.
Yeah.
I really like that kind of back and forth. So I'm kind of, as far as the story goes, yeah, there's been nothing so far that has intrigued me like WandaVision. I'd like to see what they're going to do with the Flag Smashers. They're introducing the Power Broker, which I kind of want to see what they do with that. So I think they're going to go somewhere with it. But yes, these first 2 episodes have been super slow. But I do enjoy Sam and Bucky's chemistry. I really enjoy little Kurt Russell as U.S. agent. He just comes off as exactly as douchey as he should, I think.
I think he's only going to get worse as it goes on as well.
I hope so. I mean, we all know we're waiting for that moment when they take the shield back from him, right? Like, we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
I think it'll get better. Sharon hasn't been introduced yet. We know they're going to do some stuff with her. We're just now getting to reintroducing Zemo, which He's going to get like his actual full masking getup, which is exciting. These first 2 episodes are definitely a lot of setup, and then we've got, see, they're 45-minute episodes. There's 4 of them left. About 10 minutes is credits, so let's call it 35 minutes. I don't know, what is that? About a full-length Marvel movie's worth of material to still cover?
I feel like after last week, obviously we were talking about Snyder Cut, so that's why we didn't cover the first episode. I was like, it's fine, not much happened. We'll have more to talk about next week, and I still don't feel like I've got a ton to talk. Do you know what I mean? That's like, come on, give me something.
I think the first episode was reintroducing us to Bucky and Sam and kind of showing us where they are in life right now. Sam is... we see more of Sam's personal life than we have in the films. We get to see his family. They're hard up for cash. We get to see he's working with the government, kind of. He's doing missions. I like his military friend. He's charismatic. I like his enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I like that he took it upon him.
The next Falcon.
Probably. I like that he's kind of the Rick Jones character, actually.
He gets mutated into like a half bird, half man.
Is he that character, but by name and everything? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Cool. I really like that he took it upon himself to not just like look up the Flag Smashers online, but actually like get boots to the ground and get his ass kicked. He's definitely got potential. And then the second episode was more to introduce. That was definitely our setup episode for U.S. Agent. That was the entire point of that episode, was kind of establishing there's going to be conflict between him and Bucky and Sam. And I think now that we've got all that working, that's where we can start to kind of get things kicked up in episodes 4 through 8 or however many they're
6.
doing.
What I'm curious about is, what does the world think's happened to Captain America? Like, do they think he's dead, or do they know that he's went back in time, or like, what do people think? Where do they think he's went? That's what I'm curious about.
Question.
Like, because surely if that happened in real life, the government wouldn't tell the public that time travel was possible. So,
right.
What do they think happened?
I feel like it seems implied that everyone thinks he's dead. They're very much treating it like a memorial, I think. So I would say with the reverence that they're treating Captain America and all that. Like, if everyone knew that he just time traveled and like Steve is still hanging out just being an old man, there wouldn't be that level of reverence towards him. So yeah, I'd say they probably told everyone the story that he died.
Yeah.
I think most likely Sam and Bucky and maybe a few other people are the only ones that actually know what happened.
You've also got from WandaVision, we've introduced Speed and Wiccan, and in this one we've now introduced what is his name? The Captain America version in Young Avengers. In the Hawkeye TV series, you're going to have Kate Bishop. So the Young Avengers are being set up through all this as well.
Yes, and there's been rumblings in other more Spider-Man stuff. There's been rumblings that we're going to see Miles Morales introduced to the MCU sooner rather than later. So
nice.
That could be what we're setting up for as well.
I'm okay with that, but
we're talking about Ms. Marvel as well, right? Like, so that's another one that could be going to the younger team.
Yeah, they're doing a Miss Marvel TV show, I think. But in terms of Spider-Man, I feel like Miles Morales, I feel like Peter's still a bit young to introduce Miles. I feel like Miles should have a more experienced Peter, personally.
I don't disagree.
But are you going to wait 10 years to capitalise on a character that's really popular right now? Probably not.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, there are things they could do with Peter. I mean, I know they've tried to do everything in the MCU chronologically, but Tom Holland is technically in his 20s. They could do a time jump to college age Peter if they really wanted to. Or they could use No Way Home to like, oh, John Kent it up. You know, Peter gets lost in the multiverse and he comes back and time hasn't passed in the MCU, but now he's like 4 years older or something. He's gone and had experiences.
that would only have him catch up though, because he's 5 years behind. Remember?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, that's true. He got
So-
blipped. I like that that is one thing. I like that these shows are actually exploring the idea of the effects of the blip on the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, me too.
Because there, for obvious reasons, there was no room to do that in Endgame. Like,
No.
you don't really have room for that. Yeah. These Disney Plus shows have a lot more breathing room to kind of explore the more personal aspects of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like Dan, you were saying not much has happened, and I think I like that about these shows. Like WandaVision took its time, the first 2 or 3 episodes, to just kind of have fun and do silly things. This one's more taking its time to kind of look at Sam's sister and what's happening there, and then
Bucky's
Bucky
post-traumatic
and his
stress
guilt over
disorder.
murdering folk. Yeah, sad winter boy.
Oh, the sad winter boy.
So I'm quite enjoying that. Like I prefer that rather than just having someone like this was my problem. I'm going to go back to it again. Like the Zack Snyder films, there just seems to be someone walks into a room and gives a big soliloquy about like, oh, remember that time 5,000 years ago where this happened and then that happened and then this happened and then that happened and then also this happened and then also these people did this thing, and it's just like a massive exposition dump, and it's like, just give me a natural progression in the story. Do you know what I mean? Like, show me the scene where something happens, go to something else, show me something else. Like, you don't need to tell me the whole thing. It's
Show, don't tell.
I agree
Classic
to-
storytelling rule.
Yeah.
I agree to some extent, but I think WandaVision had more room to do that because it had 9 episodes. I'm just conscious there's only 6 episodes, and I'm like,
But again, the episodes were
how much is this
shorter,
gonna-
so ultimately we're coming out to about
Yeah.
the same space of material to cover.
I don't know. I just feel like I'm waiting for something to happen. I don't need to see 2 guys punching each other every week for 40 minutes, but I want to see
I
something.
could watch that.
I want to see something happen. I don't know.
Well, we'll see next week. We'll come back to this next Saturday, and then we'll see if episode 3 has given us any more to chew on. Let's move on to the star of the show. In 2015, in a desperate bid to retain movie rights, Fox made a real bad decision. They put out a movie called Fant4stic, Fantastic Four. And it was directed and written by Josh Trank, and it was a goddamn trash fire. So we put out the call on social medias for people to vote what bad comic book movie they wanted us to suffer through, and Fantastic Four won the vote. I think it got like 15 votes. The other movies got 9 or something like that. So we did. We suffered through it. And we're gonna talk about that a little bit, and we're gonna read off some comments we got on Facebook from viewers about Fantastic Four. As a matter of fact, let me do that first. Let me read some of these comments before we get into the discussion, because I want to give people their moment. I want to give them the shout out. All right.
There's one just came in about 17 minutes ago that's a question for Alan, so we'll do that as well.
Okay. Let me refresh this page here.
I've got it here. If you want to do the rest.
Is it on? We'll do that one last, since that can lead into the discussion. Is it on the page that Ian linked to earlier?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do that one last so that we can start the discussion there. So we got a couple of things here. L.R. Temple says something I don't necessarily agree with. Can't say I watched the film intently, but I remember it not being as bad as advertised. The story of the film is really interesting, though. We forget making films just like any other job, and things go majorly wrong sometimes. I think it was worse than advertised.
I don't think anyone was expecting greatness. I was somewhat surprised at how bad it was supposed to be, but no, it didn't. It was as bad as the review said for me. When I came into cinema, I was like, yeah, it deserved to be trashed.
Let's see here. I'm gonna Graham Lundy. I am so sorry if I butchered your name.
Like a
It
graham
looked like it
cracker.
was. It looked like it was directed by someone who had only read the novelization of the film and had never read a comic in their entire life. And the original comics had such a great message about acceptance and diversity, there was no need to shoehorn any of the cringe fest into the film. I actually don't know if Josh Trank had any familiarity with the Fantastic Four prior to this. Do you guys know?
Nah, probably not.
I don't know.
Probably
That
not. He
doesn't
went the-
seem like it. Yeah.
He went the Tim Burton route.
That's
Yeah.
that's a very good assessment, though. I agree with
It
with
is.
that comment.
Granted, the difference is Tim Burton made like a good movie, and well, we actually don't know what movie Josh Trank made. We'll get into that. Colin Schneider says the biggest sin of the movie was its utter forgettability. I can't even remember what I didn't like about the movie, just that I thought it was awful. Yeah.
I was the same up until I watched it this time, and now I
Yep.
can kind of remember what I didn't like about it, but I've kind of forgotten as well, so I think he's bang on.
William Buchan says, Mr. Human Condom, the Invisible Actress, Flaming Turd, and Barney Rubble, assemble! I mean, I actually thought that those actors were like one of the least offensive parts of the movie, but alright.
Yeah.
Um,
Nothing to work with.
what did we have that's a question for Alan? Let's start this off here. Let's kick it off.
Well, on the page, Benjamin, one of the writers for the site, Ben, he wrote, really no jokes to be made, just one of the worst superhero films I've ever seen, a masterclass on how to fall flat on your face. And Alan replied to that saying, and still better than BVS or Zack Snyder's Justice League. Somebody's replied saying, wait, do you seriously think that Fantastic Four was better than Zack Snyder's Justice League? That was for Dylan James May. So, how would you answer that?
Down.
Alan, you
Yeah,
have the
okay,
floor.
I don't think it's better because I don't think Fantastic Four is good, but I don't think it's as offensively bad as Zack Snyder's Justice League was, or even the Justice League, or Batman vs Superman, or Man of Steel. Like, I put all 3 or 4 of those films as just a progression of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, just because they were so long and so boring and so just garbage. Fantastic Four, I kind of watched it whilst looking at my phone, and I wasn't upset by it in any way. Like, I just went, this is crap. I could watch it. I will never watch Zack Snyder's Justice League again because, like, genuinely, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. Like, nothing has come close to how much I hated that film. So, yes, I would watch Fantastic Four every day for the rest of my life before I would watch Zack Snyder's Justice League again.
I love how certain that was. I will never, ever watch that again.
I get this.
You can pay me to watch it.
I get this 1,000-yard stare in my eyes when Alan starts talking about Zack Snyder. Yeah, Fantastic Four, its greatest mercy is the fact that it's only an hour and a half long.
Yeah,
Which,
that's what makes it more palatable. Do you know what I mean?
It
but
still
dude, like,
feels
okay.
longer.
okay, so Fantastic Four, it's an hour and a half long. We spend the first hour building the team. And actually, I like the first, 45 minutes of this movie. I like the actors. I like Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm. I like what's his name? Jamie Bell?
Bell, yeah.
I like him as Ben Grimm. I don't like Miles Teller, and I like Miles Teller as Reed Richards. I'm meh about Kate Mara. It's alright. Whatever.
I just, when I finished it, I just wrote this sentence. After reading the awful reviews of the film the first time I seen it, I remember going into it thinking it can't be that bad. And for the first half, I was like, oh, I was right, it's not that bad. And then the second half happened.
Yes.
I do think that it's like 2 very different halves of the same film.
Yeah,
as soon
the second half
as
is made by other people, really, isn't it?
yeah, as soon as they actually, it's decent, it's watchable, it's borderline enjoyable up until they get into the transporter machine and go to Planet X and get their superpowers. As soon as they get their powers, we do a time jump to where suddenly they're all government liaisons, all trained up, and Reed Richards ran away and lived in a cabin in Venezuela or something for a year. And
That CGI face change, oh my god.
oh, it's bad. And then we have 40 minutes left in the movie, and I'm sitting here going, wait, when's there a plot to this? Wasn't Dr. Doom in this movie? Yeah, Victor Von Doom as Dr. Doom is in the movie for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Arguably, Victor Von Doom's in that for 20 minutes.
And that's the thing. Even before he changed, though, he was such an incel. Like, see when Reed's talking to Sue, and he comes in. And
he gets mad at him.
I got to talk to you about something. Like, shut up.
Victor, stop being such a neckbeard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting in his mad basement with his mad smart home connected to his brain, or whatever the hell that was. Like, that's the thing.
Your unibrow, bro.
The first half of the film did have problems. Like, I know that I'm saying the second half's worse, but the first half, like, did we need to see them as kids? Why were two grown men competing in a science fair for children? That was weird. The guy next to him was like 8 and they're like 30. Like,
that
what?
is weird. I didn't think about that. That's weird.
And like the time jump for when they were
know.
Kids was only maybe 7 years. You're like, that was a hard 7 years those guy had. It's a hard move around.
It's 8 years old to 30. I don't, whatever, you know? It's weird.
Like, there were so many parts in the first half that I was like, see the part where he's like, what you listen to? And she says, Portishead. And he's like, I've never heard of them. He's maybe one of the smartest guys in the world. Portishead aren't that obscure. How have you not heard of them? It's like, there was just so many points that it was like, this doesn't feel like
maybe
these
Reed
characters.
Richards doesn't listen to much music. It's possible.
I also wrote down how many comic book movies are going to waste Tim Blake Nelson. Like, between this and Incredible Hulk, that guy's a phenomenal actor. What a waste.
All of them.
I know.
Every one of them.
This part felt like it was written.
I look forward to him as the leader, like from if they'd gone forward with the kind of rubbishy Incredible Hulk, to be honest. But him as the leader, I was like, yeah, that'd be fucking excellent. Like, that'd be really good. And then no, and now he's just some government stooge.
Yeah, awful.
There were some really, the first half of that movie had some really good ideas, I think, and that's why, like this is like a weird mix of the David Ayer Zack Snyder situation. This movie had an incredible amount of studio meddling. As I understand it, Josh Trank a little bit of a dick, so maybe he earned some of the meddling, but. It's a mixture of they changed the script that he wrote and re-edited the movie. I mean, it's an hour-and-a-half movie. There's no way Josh Trank wrote that movie to be less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
And if it was a better movie, I would have absolutely sat there and watched a 2-hour version of it if it was better, if it was good. Because basically, they just rush through the last half hour. Like, they find Victor on Planet X. They bring him back. He's in a rubber suit.
Yeah,
Couldn't even give him a proper metal mask.
Can we talk about the special effects in the suits? Like, so bad.
Oh my god. What special effects? He was in a rubber suit.
No, but I'm talking about the green screen in the other dimension. That looked awful.
Oh, it was bad.
So bad.
Did that scream reshoots to anyone else?
Yeah. And Kate Mara's constantly changing wig was almost as distracting as Henry Cavill's top lip and Justice League. Like, one minute it was like this kind of bleach blonde colour, and then it was like dirty blonde, and her hair was just different styles between, like, not even in the same scene, in different shots. It was like different style and different colour. It was weird.
It was very much like the Joss Whedon reshoots, where like you see that Ben Affleck is clearly wearing a different, less good hairpiece. Or like Ezra Miller's hair is suddenly a uniform bowl cut, and you're like, I don't think these were filmed on the same day. No, that CGI was really bad. And then I can't stop yelling about man in a rubber suit. That's not Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Man in a rubber suit and a parka.
And see the way that his mouth didn't move. That really took me back to Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin.
Oh, that was bad. And like. What is he? He just wants to go back to his like crappy other dimension. Just let him go. Just let him go. Just take him back, drop him off, bring the machine back. You're good. There's no villain in this movie.
What were his powers? He could just do anything.
Everything.
He was the molecule man. Or Terrax. But he wasn't Doctor Doom. It's like, why did you even have Doctor Doom in it? There was no need.
There is no Victor. There is only Doom.
There's only Doom. Oh my god.
Zoom!
The He-Man ending to that film where they were all just like, he's too powerful. He's more powerful than all of us. No, he's more powerful than any of us. Yeah. But he's not more powerful than all of us. And then they have like the worst fucking plan where...
Well, he's never fought them, not them united.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was also a line in Justice League. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
So
like how
bad.
they shoehorn, like, in the last 5 minutes, like that last scene where they go into, first of all, that's what you're going to do is you're going to start them in the Baxter building and then take them out of it and put them in some, like, crappy base in the desert?
Yeah.
I'm like, at some point, are you going to introduce this as Project Pegasus? Is that what this is supposed to be? Because that's like what it reminded me of, just like
Right.
out in the middle of nowhere, and then
And-
they don't really say anything. Like we call this the city or something. What the hell did they call it?
Central
It's like
City,
something
which,
crap.
I don't know, is the Flash going to start running around?
It's like, why are you mentioning the Flashes all the time? That's crazy.
And
then
then-
they just go in the room and go, oh.
And they're all standing there, they're like, we need to have a name. It's fantastic.
Oh, so bad.
Say that again. Say that again. Oh my god.
It's fantastic.
See,
Guys, I think I have a name. Credits.
see during that scene, when they're trying to think of names, Johnny Storm says something like the Human Torch. He says like a bunch of stuff, and then he says, and the thing
The
that
Human
no one
Torch and
wanted.
the Torchettes.
No, he has like a name for them all. He's like the
Yeah.
Invisible Man, and then he's like, and the thing that no one wanted. And just going back to what that comment said earlier about how Fantastic Four was always about like trying to accept being different. Like, that's a kind of big part of the comics. To call him the thing that no one wanted, like that's not funny. That's really harsh.
Like, can we talk about
That is
clobbering
that's
time?
Jerry and Ben's thing though, like they always have that, like where he's constantly
I know.
slagging the way he looks and whatnot. I know, and
It's a
really
bit
good,
strong.
like, I'm not
Yeah.
excusing it. It's the only point in the entire film where
It-
they have that moment,
Yeah.
and it's god
Yeah, it's
awful.
out of nowhere. Yeah,
The problem isn't that they made that, like, having just an off, like a one-off scientist or something say that would be fine. It's that Johnny Storm said it. No.
yeah.
The one who's actually supposed to be like on the cool side, like he's a bit of a
Yeah, like
bit of a
him and Johnny Storm and Ben are like bros in the comic, man.
Well, I was going to say that's the thing as well. They don't even feel like friends by the end. Like any of them, really.
no.
It's not earned.
Which is, that's the other, and they started to in like all the team build up, and it's weird. Like, they just bring Ben in. Like, Reed just gets drunk and is like, I want my friend to go with me to this weird other dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
We're gonna go
Yeah.
to like planet, and Ben's like, oh, cool, okay.
Yeah, and also he just, how long did it take him to get, didn't they establish it's like 40 miles or something? And then he's just there. And we just saw him biking, we just saw Ben Grimm biking to his family's home early. Did he drive? Like, what? I have so many questions.
It's a 40-minute train ride. That's what it is, like from.
All right, well, that's
where
still
they
like a
stay
20-minute
to
drive.
there. Yeah, no, like, I'm not saying it should have been done quicker, but it's just like, yeah, nothing about that film is good. Never mind makes sense. It's just
Real bad.
mercifully short is the best thing about it.
And clobbering time. He gets the phrase, it's clobbering time, from his physically abusive older brother.
Yep. He does.
I can't give Trank a pass for that one. I guarantee that doesn't sound like a rewrite. That sounds like that was part of
Yeah.
his plan.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. It's a terrible film.
I never
I'm
wanna
just
watch-
glad that Suicide Squad didn't win the vote, because that is even worse.
oh,
But I mean,
Alan.
I'm sure we'll
Now
get
you
there.
said it. Now
Yeah.
you've put it out into the world. Now people know that you really don't want to watch that. So guess what we're probably going to end up watching this week.
It's going to be Justice League again, isn't it? Like,
You are made to suffer, my friend. I don't want to watch that movie ever again.
Toby Kebbell as Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Toby Kebbell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Like, he's a good actor. Like, I've seen him be really good in things, and
Yep.
it's just like you brought him in to be, as you say, like this mad incel who, like, the government said to get you, man. Like, no, you know that's what they want you to think, and it's like he's supposed to be.
He's
this,
supposed to be a
like,
Latvian
ridiculously
dictator.
smart guy.
Yeah.
I like how they vaguely allude to him being foreign when the Human Torch keeps calling him like Adolf and stuff. Like
Yeah.
they make the allusions, but they're bad. And he doesn't even have an accent. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
God,
he's
maybe
got
if
an
they-
American accent in that film.
Yeah, maybe if they'd established, like, oh, he's this scientist from Latveria, he's a brilliant kid. Like, oh, okay, at least we did something with it. No, it's just Toby Kebbell, just looking sad all the time.
This is why you can't have the ultimate version of Fantastic Four. You can't have like the young version. I think you need to have an older Doctor Doom, an older Ben, and an older Reed. You can have Johnny and Sue be younger. That's fine, but the other ones have to be a little lived in. They have to have had that experience where like they've got the rivalry that's went for years, and Ben is a pilot and has a reason to be there. Like other than he's Reed's pal. Like this is stupid.
Yeah, both Ben and Sue seemed really like shoehorned into that scene with the explosion and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, and the conversation we had about the Marvel TV shows and the breathing room that they give us. What if instead of introducing the Fantastic Four in a movie, they introduce them in a Disney Plus show? So we actually get, that several episodes to get to know that family, get to know kind of their background. Because let's be honest, they're not just going to... Yes, everyone knows who the Fantastic Four is, but they're not just going to drop them in the universe and be like, here they are, you know who these people are. Like, no, they're going to give us that introduction.
Well, was that not a rumour for WandaVision, that the contact for Monica Rambeau was going to be Reed?
We're not talking about WandaVision rumors anymore. It's done, let it go. But yes, that was. No, but I mean like their own show, not like they drop them in an existing Marvel Plus. I mean have a Fantastic Four Disney Plus series that introduces you to the first family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be down for that. I don't think they will, but
I don't think they will either.
They've given us the schedule, haven't they? Like for the next couple of years.
There's a poster and stuff for the movie. Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be like the Fantastic Four film, but it's not to say that they won't introduce them maybe through the other ones. Like hopefully, rather than just 2 hours to get to know the whole thing, like build them up over the course of a few cameos.
Who do you guys want? Since we're gonna get the fan. Who do you guys want to play them? Who would you cast?
Doctor Doom.
Yeah, sure. Let's start with Doom.
I think somebody mentioned Giancarlo Esposito, which I would love to see, but I also really he could do both. I really want to see him as Mr. Freeze for Robert Pattinson's Batman. I think that'd be brilliant as well. But I mean, I guess Marvel and DC, they could do both. But he'd be a great Doom.
I'd love to see him as Doctor Doom.
I'd like Mads Mikkelsen as Doctor Doom, but because he was the villain in Doctor Strange, whether they would do that, I don't know. Like, I think
that's the thing.
Nah.
I don't know about you guys.
In Doctor Strange.
I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I do watch some Marvel films and there's some kind of throwaway characters that you use good actors for, and I'm like, that's a bit of waste. You could have played somebody better.
Yeah. I'd be fine. Giancarlo would be a good choice for Doctor Doom, since Mads Mikkelsen already played the silly name in Doctor Strange. Obviously, the fan favorite for Reed and Sue are John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
Fine with me.
Which I'm not against, but it doesn't really excite me.
I can't tell if... I'm fine with that, and I can't tell if any reservations I have about it is because everyone wants it so much that I don't want people to get what they want, which is a bit childish of me. Because, really, there's nothing wrong with that casting, and I like John Krasinski, and I like Emily Blunt, and there's no reason they couldn't absolutely rock those parts.
Yeah. I wouldn't complain, I just...
But it doesn't...
what Alan's saying, it just doesn't excite me,
Yeah. Johnny Storm. Who's going to be our third Johnny Storm?
I would like to see Zac Efron as Johnny Storm. I feel like he's got that attitude, that kind of smart arse attitude that you need. He's a well-built guy. He has some range. He can do comedy. He can do action, I'm sure. I think Zac Efron could be a shout.
That's a really interesting choice, actually. I'd never thought of that.
Like,
The only
Zach-
one I've ever really thought of is Doctor Doom. Like the rest of them, I've never really come up with a decent kind of shout for it. But I like Zac Efron as the Human Torch is intriguing.
when you think his
pretty good.
energy in like Neighbours and stuff, like Bad Neighbours, those kind of films.
Yeah. That would definitely work. I wish we had some indication that Chris Evans was ever coming back as Steve Rogers, because boy, that would be fun. And then honestly, it's never gonna happen because Marvel doesn't well with all the I don't know. I would love to see Jamie Bell get another crack at being Ben Grimm.
Would be against it.
Yeah, he could be good.
I think it was really good as the character. And given, like, I don't know, they did Evan Peters as fake Pietro and all that, Marvel's not above kind of making those nods.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
can't think of anyone else that I would rather.
Yeah.
Jamie Bell's always watchable as well. Like everything he's in, I enjoy him. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see him come back.
And the
More to the
thing,
point though, who's going to play Herbie? Like,
I mean, really when it comes down to it with the Thing, I mean, maybe we'll see Ben Grimm as a human for like 5 minutes, but once he's a big rock man, you can really cast anyone as him as long as
Yeah.
they get the personality down, and I think that's where Jamie Bell kind of shines.
Until they swap powers like in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
We don't talk about that movie until we have to talk about that movie, which
Which we will.
could happen. Oh, buddy, there's a whole bunch. That's. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. It just makes me sad.
no, there's nothing about it. There's nothing to get angry about. There's nothing to get excited about. It's just a crap film. Like,
Who was it that said it? Colin Schneider was absolutely correct in saying the biggest sin of the movie is its utter forgettability. It's a big
Yeah.
nothing burger. And actually, I'll actually say that if you are in the camp of Alan in absolutely hating Zack Snyder's movies, maybe those are actually more offensive because there's actually things not to like in those versus this where it's like, it's whatever, man. It's like it's the Catwoman of Marvel films. Please
I've
don't
never seen that.
please don't make us watch Catwoman.
Yeah, don't.
I'm not even gonna let Ian put in the polls. I will quit.
That basketball scene.
Veto.
All right, guys. So we hit that news. We talked about that Falcon and Winter Soldier. We relived our trauma with Fantastic Four. Anything else you guys want to shout out or plug before we bring this meeting to a close?
One thing. I've been reading The Scumbag. Have you read that?
I haven't.
Rick Remender? Or
Nope.
Oh, I do love
I've only read
Remender.
the first.
Speaking of
Oh,
Fantastic
so good.
Four,
Yeah, like one of the best runs on the. No, it was Jonathan Hickman. I'm thinking of.
Hickman's Fantastic Four was really good. That might be what I was. Did Remender
Yeah.
do Avengers?
Yeah.
Remender did someone. I don't know.
The
Yeah.
Scumbag is absolutely amazing. The worst person on the planet. What if he gets the powers to save it? And it's like he really shouldn't. He's like a burnout, alky, drug addict, metalhead who just wants to get high and listen to heavy metal and whatnot. And he gets injected with this serum, which makes him the most powerful person on the planet, and then gets roped into all these super spy shenanigans. It's disgusting. It is.
So he's like dickbag Captain America.
Yeah. But
Cool.
the scene I'm thinking of from the first issue is just it's super disgusting. Like it's one of the most horrible things I've ever seen, but it's absolutely hilarious. It's like everything that I think the Boys comic should have been.
Right.
But I think Garfield is just a bit too mean about it, whereas Rick Remender I think is a much more talented writer, and it's just like he hits all the right notes. You feel bad for this guy, but you also feel bad for feeling bad for this guy because he's so horrible. But the whole thing is hilarious, and it's got like the evil super spy organization that's trying to get the serum, which ends up like how he gets it. It's called Scorpius. So there's the whole like Cobra Commander type leader who's got a scorpion mask, and I'm 2 issues in. I think the 6th issue just came out, so I'm still catching up, but I can't recommend it highly enough. It's fantastic, and every issue he's rotating the artists as well. and so far they've all been great. It's a fabulous book.
I'll have to give it a look. It sounds up my alley. I love
That sounds good.
messed up superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, one thing that we will touch on next week, I know the first 3 episodes of Invincible came out on Amazon. I've watched the first episode and a half. Didn't really have time to touch on it this week. What I can say, it looks really good so far. We're definitely going to talk about that next week because we won't have as much, I assume, to talk about with Falcon and Winter Soldier. And we'll dive into that next Saturday and kind of talk about that first. Well, I assume at that point will be 4 episodes.
I better watch it.
I'm not sure what I'm going to be on
Yes,
next week, so
catch
I'm
up.
just going to say I loved the first 3 episodes of Invincible. Absolutely loved it. I love the book though, but great cast. They've kept the violence and it's still got the same heart. Like it's just a well written book, so it's a well written show, and can't speak highly enough of the Invincible cartoon. So
That cast is crazy. Like when
Well,
you see
there's your officially Alan approved thumbs up, and there's your preview of our discussion next week. Alan, as he mentioned, won't be here, but we'll have Massimo on, so we'll see what he thinks of it. With that said, thanks again for joining us this week on BGCP Disassembled. We'll see you all next Saturday, and as always, make sure you check the websites and the social medias. Vote on whatever poll we come up with for the next bad movie that you're going to make us watch, and everyone have a fantastic rest of their week.
take care.
Namaste.